Walk into a Land Rover showroom in 2026 and you might see something that would have been unthinkable just 3 years ago. Discounts on the supposedly undiscountable, dealers chasing buyers instead of the other way around, and used lots quietly stacked with luxury SUVs that nobody seems to want. After a crippling cyber attack that froze the factories for weeks, fresh tariffs that spiked prices, and a long-delayed electric Range Rover that has left buyers hesitating, the most desirable badge in the off-road world is under real pressure. Today you discover the 10 Land Rovers that dealers are quietly panicking about in 2026, the ones bleeding value the fastest and sitting on lots the longest, and number 1 is a name you would never expect to see on this list. Whether you are tempted by one of these bargains or quietly trying to protect the value of the one already on your drive, understanding exactly why each of these is sliding is the difference between a smart buy and an expensive mistake. Let us count them down. Number 10, the Range Rover Velar. When it launched, the Velar was the design star of the range, the sleek, fashion-forward Range Rover that turned heads in every car park. The problem for you today is that style fades fast in the used market, and the Velar has been left as the awkward middle child, more expensive than an Evoque, less capable and less spacious than a Sport, and built on an aging platform that has been facelifted rather than reinvented. Buyers know it, so demand has cooled and values have slid hard, and dealers find these slow to shift against newer, fresher metal. The looming question of where it fits in an increasingly electric range only deepens the uncertainty, and uncertainty is poison for resale. For you as a buyer, that spells opportunity, because a 2 or 3-year-old Velar now costs a fraction of its sticker, but if you already own one, your trade-in number is the painful side of that same equation. Worse, it was never really anyone's first choice. It was the car people bought when they wanted a Range Rover to look at rather than to use, and fashion-led purchases are always the first to crater the moment the next shape arrives. A clean-used Velar can now be had for the kind of money that not long ago bought a well-used family hatchback, which is wonderful news if you are buying and brutal if you are selling. Wait until you see how much further this pattern goes. Number 9, the Discovery Sport. For years this was Land Rover's quiet volume seller, the sensible family compact that put the badge on suburban driveways everywhere. That ubiquity is now working against it, because the used market is flooded with them, and the early cars carry the reputation of the troublesome first-generation Ingenium diesel and its timing chain worries. The result is a car that depreciates steadily and sells slowly once it is a few years old, with buyers nervous about out-of-warranty repair bills on a premium badged compact. It actually holds value a little better than the bigger Land Rovers in percentage terms, but on a premium compact that still means real money evaporating, and the sheer number of them on the market keeps prices soft. Dealers take them on trade and then struggle to move them at a price that makes sense. The cruel irony is that it is genuinely a competent, practical family car, but competence does not hold value when the badge sets a premium expectation the resale market simply refuses to honor, and that gap between what it costs new and what it now fetches is precisely your opportunity. If you are shopping, a well-documented later example can be a genuine bargain, but you buy the history file, not the badge, and you walk away from any car with a patchy service record. Number 8, the Range Rover Evoque. The Evoque was once the hottest thing Land Rover made, the car that brought a whole new audience to the brand, and that very success is now its used market curse, because there are simply so many of them that supply swamps demand. Prices for older examples have tumbled, and nowhere is that clearer than the Evoque convertible, a niche experiment that has become a near orphan, almost impossible for dealers to sell and brutal on resale value. Picture trying to sell a roofless luxury compact in a market that never really wanted one in the first place, and you understand why dealers wince when one rolls in on trade. Even the standard Evoque, fashionable as it still looks, sheds value quickly once the warranty lapses and buyers start worrying about the same compact Land Rover running costs. The numbers tell the story plainly, with a 3 or 4-year-old Evoque often trading for less than half of what its first owner paid, and the convertible for less again, so the depreciation that wrecked their ownership is quietly handed to you as a discount. For you, that means a stylish SUV for surprisingly little money, as long as you go in clear-eyed about the maintenance and you treat the convertible as a heart-over-head purchase rather than an investment. Number 7, the Range Rover Plug-in Hybrid. On paper, the P400e plug-in promised the best of both worlds, electric running around town and a petrol engine for distance, and it commanded a strong price when new. In the used market, it has become one of the fastest depreciating ways into a Range Rover, and the reasons stack up against you. Buyers are nervous about an aging high-voltage battery they cannot easily or cheaply replace. The added complexity means more that can fail expensively out of warranty, and the imminent arrival of a fully electric Range Rover makes the half-step hybrid feel like yesterday's answer. A replacement high-voltage pack out of warranty is the kind of bill that can approach the value of the entire used car, and that single fear is enough to freeze most shoppers in place. It is the worst kind of depreciation, the sort driven not by the car being bad, but by fear of a single component, and fear is sticky, so even genuinely healthy examples get tarred with the same brush. Dealers know all of this, which is why these sit and sit. If you understand the battery situation and buy one with its health documented, the discount can be enormous, but most buyers simply will not take the risk, and that is exactly why the values keep falling. Number 6. The Discovery, the current 5th-generation car. The Discovery name once stood for the ultimate do-everything family adventurer. 7 proper seats and genuine capability, beloved across generations. Then the 5th-generation car arrived with a controversial design, including that infamous offset rear plate, and a price that pushed it into Range Rover territory, and the faithful, who had loved the upright, rugged older Discoveries, never fully warmed to the softer, more car-like replacement. Sales disappointed, and on the used market it now depreciates heavily, caught between the cheaper Discovery Sport below it and the more desirable Range Rovers above. It ended up a vehicle without a natural home, too expensive for the old Discovery loyalists and too compromised for genuine Range Rover money, and the used market has punished that confused positioning ever since. Pricing it up against the Range Rover badge was the strategic mistake, because shoppers reasoned that if they were paying near Range Rover money, they would simply stretch to the real thing. Add the familiar worries about air suspension, the diesel engines, and out-of-warranty electronics, and you have a big, complex SUV that dealers find genuinely hard to move. That said, for a family that genuinely needs 7 proper seats and real off-road ability, almost nothing else offers this much capability for the money once the first owner has absorbed the depreciation. For a brave buyer, it is a lot of metal for the money, but the market is telling you something with those prices, and you should listen carefully and inspect thoroughly before signing. Number 5. The supercharged V8 models, including the SVR. These were the wild ones. The cars that made a 2.5-ton luxury SUV accelerate like a sports car and sound like thunder, and when new they wore eye-watering price tags. In 2026, they have become a very tough sell secondhand because everything that made them thrilling now frightens the average buyer. The fuel consumption is brutal, the insurance is punishing, the tires and brakes cost a fortune, and the supercharged engine family carries its own maintenance reputation that scares anyone facing it without a warranty. Single-digit fuel economy, tires that cost as much as a small holiday, and an engine that demands premium fuel and meticulous care all add up to a running cost that terrifies the second or third owner. There is a brutal logic to it, because the people who can comfortably afford the running costs mostly buy new, while the people drawn to the cheap used price often cannot, so these cars drift down to owners who then struggle to keep them and sell them on again. So values have collapsed, and you can now buy a former 6-figure performance Range Rover for a startling fraction of its original price. For the right enthusiast with money set aside for running costs, that is a thrilling bargain, but for everyone else, it is a money pit waiting to happen, which is precisely why dealers price them to clear and still watch them linger. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 4. The 3-liter V6 diesel models. For years, the SDV6 and TDV6 diesels were the default choice in the Discovery and the Range Rover Sport, smooth and torquey and seemingly sensible. Then word spread about the crankshaft failures that could destroy these engines with very little warning, and that single reputation has poisoned their used values. Today, buyers actively avoid the older 3-liter diesels, terrified of inheriting a 5-figure engine failure on a car they paid relatively little for. And dealers know that a diesel Land Rover of this era is one of the hardest things on the lot to sell. The depreciation has been savage. When a crank lets go, the engine is not repaired, it is replaced, and that bill can dwarf the value of the whole vehicle, which is why a cheap 3-liter diesel is so often a trap rather than a deal. The tragedy is that plenty of these engines will run for years without drama, but there is no easy way for an ordinary buyer to know which ones, and that uncertainty alone is enough to collapse the value of the whole group, the good and the bad together. For you, the lesson is simple and unforgiving, because while a healthy example with full history and a careful inspection can be genuinely cheap motoring, the downside risk is so catastrophic that most buyers, quite rationally, will not touch one at any price. Number 3. The previous generation Range Rover Sport. This was the Range Rover you could actually use as a sports car, the desirable, dynamic one. and buyers queued for it when new. As a used purchase, it has become a textbook depreciation story, with 3-year-old examples already down by more than half from their original price, and out-of-warranty cars carrying the full weight of Land Rover's reliability reputation, air suspension, electronics, and those feared engines included. Industry valuations have shown 3-year-old examples losing well over half their value, putting them among the heaviest depreciators of any SUV in their class. Dealers take in gorgeous, low-mileage sports and then discover how little the market will actually pay once buyers factor in the looming repair risk. The number on the windscreen looks like a dream until you understand why it is so low. Think of it as buying the car at a discount but renting its reliability, because the air suspension, the electronics, and the engines will eventually ask for money, and the buyers who thrive are the ones who set aside a repair fund from day one rather than spending every dollar the low price seemed to save them. For you, that means a stunning, capable SUV at a startling discount, but only if you have budgeted honestly for what keeping it running really costs. Number 2. The full-size previous generation Range Rover. Here is the depreciation trap that the entire luxury world walks into with eyes wide open. A flagship Range Rover that stickered around $90,000 when new routinely sells for well under half of that just 5 years later, with independent studies pegging its loss at well over 60%. Among the very worst of any luxury vehicle on the market. To put a number on it, a flagship that left the showroom around $90,000 can sit nearer the mid-30s after just 5 years, the kind of fall that would make any other purchase feel reckless. The reason is no mystery, because while it is sublime when new and under warranty, an out-of-warranty full-size Range Rover has a fearsome reputation for expensive faults, and savvy buyers know that the repair bills can quickly exceed what they paid for the car. Analysts have measured the dollar loss on a 5-year-old full-size Range Rover at around $70,000, and more than one respected outlet now openly advises luxury buyers to skip the used Range Rover entirely and buy something like a Land Cruiser that will not bleed them dry. So dealers sit on trade-ins that look like incredible value and turn out to be incredibly hard to sell. It is the purest expression of this whole list, a car that loses more value in 5 years than many families spend on a car at all, and then asks for thousands more just to stay healthy. For you, the temptation is enormous and the warning is just as large, because the cheapest Range Rover you can find is almost always the most expensive one to own, unless you buy it with a bulging history folder and a warranty still in force. Number 1. The brand new 2026 Range Rover and Range Rover Sport themselves. Here's the name you never expected, because the ultimate symbol of automotive desirability is the one caught in the most perfect storm of all. In 2026, the brand's hero cars are absorbing a punishing combination of pressures all at once, a devastating cyber attack that shut global production for weeks and scrambled inventory and deliveries, a 25% tariff on imported vehicles that spiked prices and pushed the company to pause shipments to the United States altogether for a time, and a long-promised electric Range Rover, pushed back for more testing and to gauge demand, whose delays have left buyers unsure whether to commit to a petrol flagship now or hold out for the battery one. Sitting underneath all of that is the same brutal depreciation curve that defines every car on this list, which means the gleaming 6-figure flagship on the showroom stand today is tomorrow's cautionary tale. The production shutdown alone wiped out weeks of output and sent quarterly wholesale volumes plunging by more than 40% year-on-year, with the crucial North American market falling by nearly 2/3. And as that backlog now flows unevenly back onto lots, the supply and demand balance that once protected these cars has been thrown into disarray. Dealers, facing recovering but uneven supply and hesitant buyers, are doing something almost unheard of on these cars, quietly negotiating and discounting the untouchable. The Range Rover is not unwanted because it is bad. It is the finest thing the company builds. It is on this list because in 2026, even perfection is fighting headwinds it has never faced before, and the buyer who understands that holds all the power. For the patient shopper, this is the rarest moment of all, a window where the one car that almost never bends on price is suddenly negotiable. So if a new flagship is genuinely what you want, this may be the year the showroom finally meets you halfway. Just go in knowing the depreciation that follows will be as steep as everything else here, and let that knowledge, not the badge, set the number you are willing to pay. So there you have it. The 10 Land Rovers dealers are losing sleep over in 2026, from the unloved Velar and the flooded Evoque to the feared diesels and, astonishingly, the flagship Range Rover itself. Notice the thread, because none of these are bad vehicles. They are simply caught between savage depreciation, out-of-warranty fear, and a uniquely turbulent year for the brand. If you are buying, that turbulence is your leverage, so negotiate hard, demand a full history and a proper inspection, and budget honestly for the running costs before you fall for the price. Within the lineup, there is one telling exception worth remembering, because the Defender has quietly held its value better than anything else Land Rover makes. Proof that desirability and scarcity can still beat the depreciation curve when the formula is right. Everywhere else on this list, though, the same forces apply. The smart money in 2026 lets someone else take the depreciation and the risk and buys only with eyes wide open, turning the brand's greatest weakness into your single biggest bargaining chip. None of this is a reason to fear Land Rover. It is a reason to buy one the smart way, on your terms, because the badge still delivers a blend of luxury, presence, and genuine capability almost nothing else can match. And in 2026, you can have it for a fraction of what the first owner paid. Just make the depreciation work for you instead of against you. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.